Hello everyone, welcome to next section of our video. So in this section I'll tell you specifically about the relative layout and the elements which are used in activity main.xml file for our quiz app and how those are integrated with our main activity files. So we'll just see, since we have already understood now by what is the relative layout and in which scenarios a relative layout is used, what are the different properties and its parameters a relative layout has. So we'll just go into a little detail about this and understand our app better and understand the main file, the layout file which is used in our app. So as we have already known that this is the main activity file. This is the layout folder. Layout basically exists in layout folder. This is our main file, layout file, which is used in our app. And by now I have already explained you about this different elements which are used in this, and as you can see in the top, this is using a relative layout. So let's see make some changes to our app and see how this relative layout can be used in different ways. So suppose here we have put the answer button to the bottom of the screen. So if we want to place it in the center of the screen, so for that we have to use this kind of layout. So this I have already told you in my previous video, so I'll not repeat it again. So you can see our screen has a basic view group which is obviously called a relative layout, and all our views like the image view for the background. So this is the background which you can see, the white background. This is this has a image view for the background. The text view, as you can see, where we will be basically populating our answers, and the button are positioned inside this layout, and these are relative to each other. So that's what a relative layout is used. So you can see the relative layout basically takes the entire height and width of the screen, which means everything on the screen is placed relative to the edges of the relative layout or the screen edges, like in our apps case what we are doing this. So there are other kinds of layout containers or view groups also, and they are called so because they can hold other types of views inside them, and commonly used types is called the linear layout, which allows us to arrange the child view in either a horizontal or a vertical linear fashion that we have already discussed. But that only suffice only some particular requirement. This will not suffice the requirement in your app's case, because you already have a button, then you have to place a text view which will be relative to this button. So on click of that button, the answer levels will populate. So for in our case we have to use a relative layout. So our text views that shows the answer is currently placed in center of the relative layout. So this you can see, the text view is basically placed in center of this relative layout, but because of some restriction with the relative layout we can explicitly control it, and so instead we are going to wrap a text view inside a layout, and which gives us a better control of how I want it. So this is how it is done. So I'll just go to the text view and show you the different parameters which we are using. So I believe we have already discussed this, or what a layout: width, height, horizontal, vertical, color, gravity, text color, everything. All this you can change and see what different effects it's make to your app. We already changed the button name. Now we'll see how and where this IDs are basically used in our activity file, because this is a layout. In layout means it's only a design, but this design has to be integrated in your activity file, so that on click of this the activity should understand what I need to perform. So this text view and this button one will just go to the main activity.java file and see where exactly it's used. So as we have already seen, this is the answer level which will be populating. So this is getting the ID, find view by ID, from the text view 1. So whatever you write in your activity file over here in this text view 1, that is basically over here whatever answers comes up, that will be populated in the answer level. So this is the understanding why we are using a text view. So id is basically, if you change the id over here, so it will not understand, the code will not understand. So id is very important when you write your layout file, and you have to mention the same id in your activity file. So here I have mentioned the id as text view 1, and so I have populated over here. So if I do it as a text view only and don't go far, so it doesn't recognizes what is a text view, because in our layout file we have mentioned it as a text view 1. So I'll do it, and it understood this one. Same for the button. So button, it identified by its id. So r.id, that is basically r is a resource dot id dot button 1. So it will take the id again from the button here. So button 1 is the id for the button. So this is how it is integrated in our main activity.java file, and our main activity understands what exactly it has to do with the layout file. So this is the integration we are doing with our activity file and the main activity, our Java file. So this is understanding how we are doing for this app. So basically I'll discuss about some more layouts which are not used in our app, but you can maybe when you develop some advanced app you may require those. So I'll give a brief explanation of all those layouts, and then we'll go ahead and execute our app and see how our app runs and what all different options it populates. So section will see about some more layouts, and basically I'll be discussing about a table layout. Since in the previous section we have seen almost the major layouts which are used most frequently in all your apps, like the linear layout and the relative layout. Here in the coming sections I'll discuss 3 to 4 more layouts which you will be using maybe in some more apps, and where all this fits the requirement. So I'll be discussing about the table layout in this video, and I'll tell you about a small app as well, develop a small app using this table layout, so that you have a better understanding why a table layout is used, and in which all scenario the table layout suits the best for your app. So what is a table layout? So Android table layout is going to be arranged groups of views into rows and columns. So here is the pictorial diagram I have put over here, which shows how a table layout looks like. So you can see over here a table layout basically has group of views into rows and columns. So you can see here a row is there, some columns are there. So whenever you have a requirement, when you need to design some kind of rows or column, a table layout is the perfectly used layout. So you will be using in a table layout you will be using a table row element to build a row in the table, which anyways I'll be showing you in the Android Studio, and each row has 0 or more cells. So each row can have any number of cells starting from 0, and each cell can hold one view object, and each of the cell can hold one view object. By one view object I mean to say anything like a button, a checkbox, a radio button, anything a single row can hold. So table layout containers do not display any border line for their rows. So once you use the table layout and use a table row, it will not display any border line for their rows, columns or cells. And then we will be discussing about same as the linear layout and relative layout. The important attribute which is specific to the table layout is the Android ID element, because that ID uniquely defines a table layout. And here you can see over here, this is a demo kind of pictorial diagram I have designed of an app where they have a first name, last name, some rating for the app, and a submit button. So you can say these are 2 rows, then again a row. So for this kind of app we are using a table layout. In the next section I'll discuss about a simple calculator app, and this we will be designing using a table layout. So thank you. And in this as I have mentioned, I'll discuss about a simple calculator app using a table layout. So let's go back to our Android Studio and start developing the app using a table layout. So I'll go back to Android Studio. This was our Fruits app, so I'll just go to File. I'll develop a new project, and maybe the application name I'll put as a layout, because if we need some more layouts, maybe we can use this as our project. Java.example.layout. The location, I'll change the location of this layout as maybe over here, and the next to this all I'll keep as same, a basic activity, or I'll add no activity. Basically we'll take an empty activity, and then I'll do a finish. So let's wait for the Android Studio to start up, and then we'll start designing our table layout. So this is my Android Studio is just building up, and this is my table layout project. You can see, so our main work is under this, where we need to use a table layout. So let's go back to a layout section where we have a group of layouts. So here the layouts are there, so we'll just drag and drop a table layout. Basically I'll be working the design view itself, because since you have not become such advanced that we can directly go and work on the text view, as I have told earlier as well. Once you become a little more used to Android Studio, start developing your codes and advanced, and when the text view is always better than a design view. But for as a beginner, it's always good to go for a design view, so that you have a better understanding and you'll get to know that what exactly we are doing over here. So it is one table layout I have added. So now as you can see, a table layout has as I told you earlier, a table layout will use the table row element, this table row element, to build a row in the table. So let's go and add a table row. So since we are designing a calculator app, so the calculator app will have like 10 buttons for the digits, and we will be adding 5 table row for that. So let's go and add the table rows one by one. So we already have 4 table rows. Let's add a 5. So we have a 5 table rows. Under each table row we'll just go and add buttons. So I'll just drag a button. So this is how we are adding the button. So let's add one more button over here, and let's add one more button. So in each row there are 3 buttons. So this is how a table row works in a table layout. This is just a simple adjustments you have to do. Next is in the second table row, we'll again add next button. So here you can see I have added this buttons over here. So each table row has 3 buttons under it. So these are the table rows and these are the buttons. So what are the attributes a table layout uses is, you can see over here it uses a ID, which I told you the most important attributes for any layout to identify this in any of the activity file. The layout width and the layout height we have set as a wrap content. So it will wrap the content, and then we will just go and change the values for this. So here you can see it represents as button, so we just go and do it as a 1. And next, So we'll change the values basically, so that because we are making a calculator app, so this way we can do it as we can change the value and we can just see about how it looks like a calculator app. I'll just change it for all these buttons, and you can do it in the same way. This will be 0. Here I'll put maybe a plus sign. Here I'll put a slash maybe, and here I'll write some text like clear, and here we can do it as a minus sign. So this is that becomes looks like a calculator app, and this is how you can do it using a table layout. I'll show you the text view for this as well, how it looks like. So you can see it is my table layout. You can see over here a table layout has been added. So this is how the text looks like. A table layout is added, and each table layout, as I told, has a table row element to build a row in the table. So these are the table row element, and the table row element I have added 3 buttons. So these are the view object, which I told you that each row has 0 or more cells, and each cell can hold 1 view object. So here it is holding 3 view objects, the 3 buttons basically, and these are how it is designed. Now if you go and make this calculator work, you have to design an activity file as well, and then you have to reference these IDs over there, and then you can design it. We are not going into that much detail because here I want to discuss only about the layout, how the layout is used, and in which all scenario you can use this kind of layout. So we'll be discussing in the next section, we'll be discussing about other layouts, how it can be used, and in which all situations you can develop app using that kind of layout. So this is all about a table layout. In the earlier section, as we have seen this simple calculator app which was designed using a table layout. So in this section I'll tell you about the frame layouts, but before that I'll just want to show you this calculator app. I have executed this in the emulator and how it looks like. So we'll just go back to Android Studio and see how it looks like. So this is my calculator app, and this was how I executed in a Android emulator device, and this is how my calculator app looks like. So as you can see, this complete apps, so I already have all these buttons over here, and this is how it looks. So now I don't want to discuss this more because we have already discussed about the table layout. Now I'll go back and discuss about the frame layouts. What is a frame layout and in which all scenarios a frame layout is used. So this is a pictorial diagram of a frame layout, how a frame layout, what all properties a frame layout has. So to go into more detail and design a small app using a frame layout, we'll first see what is a frame layout. So a frame layout is designed to block out an area on the screen. So as you can see, this is the complete area on the screen to display a single item. So this is basically for this purpose, to block out an area and to display a single element. Generally the frame layout should be used to hold only a single child view, because it can be very difficult for you to organize the child views in a way that's scalable to different screen sizes without the children overlapping each other. So we cannot have like multiple child view over here. By child view I mean to say again any kind of like you want to add a button, you want to add a image view, a text view. So you cannot have multiple child views, because it will be being very difficult for you to organize it in a single frame, and the child will be overlapping each other if you use multiple child view. So you can add multiple children to a frame layout and control their position. So there is a method from where you can add multiple child view or multiple children to a frame layout and control their position within the frame layout by assigning something called gravity to each child. That is a property, again an attribute of a frame layout, using the Android layout gravity attribute. So that's the property. Anyways, I'll show that property in the Android Studio when we'll be developing the app, and we'll see it. So these all properties, the text view, image view, will be anyways seeing in the Studio. I'll developing a, so let's go back to the Android Studio and design a frame layout. So this is our layout which we have where we have done for the table layout. I've cleared the screen, and now we are going to design a frame layout. So for that, first I'll go back and pick a frame layout. So this is a frame layout. I'll add this on the screen over here, complete screen I'll add. So this is a frame layout, this one is added. And in the frame layout, what we'll do, we'll just add any kind of view. So child view, I'm just going to add a image view to it. So this is an image view. So as you can see, when I drag an image view, it asks me for any kind of images which are available. So once you can do, you can take the images which are already available in your drawable folder. So any image it will pick from the drawable folder. So let's do one thing. We'll just go back to a drawable folder. So this drawable folder is basically under the resource folder where your layout folders are there. It is the drawable folder. Let's go back and drag a image. This is a tulips, it's a penguin. So maybe I'll just take a penguin image and just paste it over here. Yes, so this, I got this, and then again I'll try to add an image view. So as you can see, I got this penguin images over here because that's available under the drawable folder. In the same way, you can do you can put any kind of images or all the images, because anyways in your project, whenever you develop Android app, all the images whatever you use in your app comes from this drawable folder itself. So I'll do OK, and as you can see, the image has been dropped. Then we already have a text view, so let's write something over here. Here is the text view. So this is something like my frame layout. I'll write it like this. So this is how it's done. And then we'll see about the attributes which a frame layout uses. The attributes are same. It has a ID obviously, which will identify the layout ID value, and then layout width and layout height. It is wrap content. And then you have an image view value which we have added from the drawable folder. So it's always presented as this @drawable/penguins, because this drawable folders has a penguin images. And if you go and see about the other properties, so it's almost same as the properties of the other layout. You can just go over here and see for other properties how it's done. So this is how it's looks like. Now let's go and see how our frame layout looks like. I'll try to execute this app and we'll see how it looks like. So restart the app and we'll just see how it's, my Gradle is building. So we'll just see. So this is our app is just building up. We'll just wait for some time to our app to be launched in the emulator. So just wait for some time. It shows my Gradle has finished, and so let's go and open the emulator. So wow, this is our frame layout. So this was the text which we have put my frame layout, and this is how it looks like. So as I have told, the frame layout basically is block out an area on the screen to display a single item. So this is the single item, how it is displayed in the screen over here. So this is how a frame layout is used. And now we'll see about some more 1 or 2 views in the next section about the different layouts and what kind of layouts are used for what kind of apps. Now it's time for us to execute our quiz app, which we have developed earlier but we have not executed it yet, since we have understood all the important files which our quiz app was using, and how it is designed, how it is integrated with the layout files, with the main activity files. Now it's time for us to execute. So let's go back to the Android Studio and see to execute our quiz app. So this was our quiz app, so which already has 3 files: a main activity file, my answer.java file where we are populating the fruit's name, and one of our layout files where we were using our relative layout, which has a button and a text view. So this looks like this one, a button and a text view. Now it's time for us to execute this app and see how our app is working. So I'll just go and try to run this app. I'll again run it on a Marshmallow device. So we'll just wait for the Gradle to build and see how our apps looks like. So it seems our Gradle has just finished. We'll just open the emulator and see. Okay, wow, our first app looks like this. Click on fruit's name, and this is my first application, and so let's go and click on this. Oh wow, this populates me the different fruits name, whatever we have put in the my answer activity file. The next fruit it's an apple. When I click again, it's an apricot. When I click again, it's again an apple. Then oranges, it comes up. Then it comes up the strawberry. So these are the different fruits name which populates on click of this button. So this is a simple quiz app which you can use for developing any other types of app as well, which has the same functionality. On click of the button, the values changes randomly. So this app can be used. This I have designed so that you can understand and have a better understanding of developing more advanced level app. So in our coming videos, I'll be discussing about some more advanced app, but this has given you a basic overview how you can design your own app. So if you're beginner as well to this Android app development, no matters, it's very simple for you, because this my quiz app is a very simple app and you can understand it end to end how it has been developed. And this is how